Hey there, StarCraft fans. It's Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. And today for your Sunday, it is a Sunday series best of 5 between SOS and Risky. Starting on Triton, the ladder edition from Katowice, the group stages, well, qualification stages 2020. Bottom right-hand corner, we have the red Protoss player. Haven't seen him on the channel in a while. It is SOS. And in the top left-hand corner, it is the British Zerg player. He is purple. He is Risky. And his name is Risky as well. All right, so should be excellent here. According to Wikipedia, Risky also plays for the New Zealand team when it comes to things like nation wars and whatnot. So pretty cool stuff. Sounds like he has some ties to the country of New Zealand as well, which I really appreciate. Great country. Funny people. People like Taika Waititi come from there, and the Flight of the Conchords guys. And I don't know. This feels like of most of the New Zealanders that I know, they're all very funny for some reason. Anyway, what are we looking at here? SOS comes up, tries to block the hatch, can't get there in time here on Triton. It's a fairly large map, long rush distance. On the other side, he's not going for an Nexus first play, though he totally could have. Because again, if your Zerg opponent goes for this 16 hatch, you can get away with an Nexus first and then wall off later, because their pool is just now getting started at 119. Would have been plenty of time, but SOS just playing it a little more conservatively, doesn't want to risk too much when playing against Risky here, if you know what I mean. Got 2 workers on the gas. I wonder if that's intentional. I wonder if he intends to have 2 workers on the gas there. Maybe get his expansion out a little bit faster. I mean, that is the outcome. As you have more mineral income, you can get that expansion out quicker than you normally would be able to. Probe up here is going for the... Oh, the mineral game just lost the mineral game. Unfortunately, you can't mess with the AI on these drones by mining from their mineral patches and forcing them to go elsewhere if you have a mouthful of minerals yourself. So we see that sometimes. Early APM for these players. Really not much else to use it on other than little games like that. So SOS knows what's going on. Any sign of a third from Risky? He probably should at this stage. His Overlord came in and saw, okay, this is definitely a 1-gate expand. There's definitely an Adept on the way. Nothing too crazy here at all for me to handle. So yeah, drone comes on down. Is being escorted a little bit here. Lings are checking for proxies and whatnot, because really not much map vision right now for Risky. What with these 2 Overlords cruising about very slowly. But yeah, third base at about 2:30. Risky's timing there is on point. And then once the Cyber Core is done, we will see what SOS is up to. He's going for a couple extra gateways here. The Overlord's not really in a position to scout at all. Depth running about, does see the third base coming up, gets a couple free shots off on it, has a good day with that. Couple Lings on the way here from Risky. That might be over-making at this stage. There's really only 1 Adept running around. I don't know that you need 10 Lings for this, unless he's going for more of an attack. Oh, he checked the saturation. He checked the saturation on the natural and saw there wasn't much there, which means there are Lings coming in, which means you don't need that many Lings to defend against a single Adept, but what you do need Lings for is a big attack coming in right now. Immediate wall up. Immediate pull the probes. Pull the probes. There's open door here. All right, so the probes are going to fight. A bunch of them are going to die, but that's okay. That is by design here. One of the Adepts does go down. Oh, that's not a full wall either. Oh no, that second pylon didn't actually help there. Look at these Speedlings getting on top, getting almost a surround on that Adept. The Adept does go down. The Stalker is alone at this point. What is even happening right now? Risky just sends a bunch of Speedlings across the map, gets this much damage done against SOS. He's still down in worker count, though. You'll notice these things, if you can hold with taking a little bit of damage, if you're SOS here, you're going to be just fine. But my gosh, more probes going down. The control here for Risky is kind of nuts. More Lings coming in, chomping away at that warp gate. That Adept is going to survive, going to end up with about 5 or 6 kills. This is not even a Baneling attack. I mean, this is just straight up Speedlings all the live long day, at least maybe until we end up getting Roaches as Rotorn is coming up back home. So I think SOS has held this. That is a really nice wall. That poor probe. Can they get through? Why was there a probe in there? Bad place for a probe to be. So he's dead, but all of these poor Zerglings are trapped in the torture chamber. They're all going to die. Like, sentry damage isn't fantastic against Zerglings, but it's enough to kill them if there's nowhere for them to go. That's a lot of dead stuff, you guys. That's a lot of dead stuff. Meanwhile, on the other side, we've got a hallucinated Phoenix causing some problems. Scouts the Roach Warren, says, yes, well, yes. That's happening. At this point, SOS's income is definitely favoring him, as Risky just now starting to drone up. So that actually should start to equalize here in just a minute, especially as he saturates the third base. Oh, it's snowing. Look. Actively snowing on the map. Not something you see a lot. Oh, hang on. It's gone. Oh, it's back. Sort of. It's a light snowing. That's all it is. Can you imagine if there was weather on these maps? I mean, there is a map that has lightning strikes. I always thought it would be interesting if the lightning strikes actually did a little bit of damage on things they hit. It would be really hard to balance around, but imagine if it snowed on maps. And the longer the game went on, the more snow there was, and the slower your units were trying to get back and forth across the map in places where there was snow. God, that'd be fun. That would be really fun. I imagine some other games have included that mechanic. I'm just not familiar with any of them. So a bunch of Adepts cruising on up here from SOS. He held off the early attack. He's in a pretty darn good position. I mean, Risky's up to 50 workers, though. Dang, he has recovered nicely from not making any drones in the first couple minutes of this game. So the Adepts are going to show up, but there's going to be Roaches and Lings, and this is a really nice combination. So the Adepts, yeah, they get out of there. They recognize a Roach-Ling combo is really bad. You know what's also really bad are Banelings. 3 Adepts trying to get into the main base. There are Roaches here too. Risky is playing exceptionally well here, you guys. We're actually super happy with how he's going. How he is doing right now. Couple drones go down. Queen's fighting. Drones getting focused down. Adepts getting into the third base. Risky kind of getting pulled apart here. I don't know about this. He just lost 6 drones. Have any of the... I guess I was going to say, have any of the Adepts died, and then one died instantly. Another one goes down, too. And the Adepts managed to get out. So 6 drones down for... I mean, it's 6 total Adepts, but I think some of them died down here. Meanwhile, Immortal production has begun for SOS because he's very smart and recognizes that Roaches are butt against Immortals. Yeah, enough Roaches here to handle this little Adept shenaniganry. It's 60 to 47 workers, though. Good golly. Risky looking good. SOS is not taking a third Nexus at all. He's worried about further aggression. He's going to try to kill as many of these drones as he can. And so far, it's another couple going down. Six drones out. Third Nexus is on the way from SOS. Okay, so, man, after that early attack, I kind of expected either Risky would just lose or SOS would straight up lose, but you know what? I think we've stabilized. I think we've gotten to a fairly normal mid-game here. Obviously, player army counts here are lower than they normally would be at 8 minutes, but that's because there was some early harassment that slowed things down on both sides. And some early worker losses for sure. So at this point, I mean, it's a pretty scary Immortal, Charge Lot, Sentry army. Oh, with Archons in the mix, too. Yeah. So, Risky going the Roach Ravager style. I'd like to see him get some Hydralisks versus these Immortals and versus these Archons, but doesn't seem to have the tech for it now, nor is he interested in tossing down a Hydralisk den at the moment. That could change at any second, though, and that's what's fun about StarCraft. I like that he's getting his +1 missile attack. It's finished up. SOS's +1 attack is done, so he's ahead a little bit. In that he's just getting his +2. Not that he's actually up an upgrade, because he's not. They're even. They're even on that +1 and +1. Army supply 116 to 73. That's kind of what you need in Roach Ravager, is you need a larger Roach Ravager supply if you're dealing with this kind of an army from Protoss, because you're going to take losses larger than the Protoss will. So you need to have more to compensate for that. I don't know about this from Risky. I really don't. You see the force fields. Yeah, so a lot of Roaches die there instantly for pretty much nothing. This does not feel good for the British Zerg player at all. These Archons in the front kind of refusing to die. Getting serious damage versus biological there. The Immortals just crushing through. Yeah, that was a shellacking. That was bad. Army supply 73 to 61. Not nearly the lead Risky used to have. He's making more Roaches and more Ravagers. I don't even know what killed 4 drones. Some Adepts, maybe? A 9-minute Oracle, perhaps? I see. Maybe Archon harass. As there are Archons cruising up the left side here. Not with the main army anymore, which actually I think makes it a little bit less scary, to be honest. So the Roach Ravager are heading across the map down south while SOS heads north, and was someone going to come home is the question. Yeah, Risky decides it's time for him to come home. As there are Archons in his main base, as his fourth base dies about 2 seconds after it completes construction. It's not where you want to be. Roach Ravager coming up, but we're trying to kind of sandwich the Protoss player in here. Nice corrosive bile in one of the sentries at least. Actually biling down a couple of the force fields, which is always nice to see. Sentries down. It's really just the Immortals remaining. And you know what? Immortals are really good against Roaches, not so good against Ravagers, and not when they're outnumbered this heavily. Still 15 kills, 17 kills, and 14 kills on those Immortals as they go down. But see, the problem is the natural base is also dying. The main base is dying. I think SOS has a game 1 win here. There's just too much damage. Yes, that army died, but the ability to just reinforce, warp in more units here is beautiful with the Warp Prism. Good unit that Warp Prism is. And yeah, I mean, your main base is dead. Your natural base is not mining. Your fourth base is done. And that's your good game. Well played. Good luck. Game 1 does go to SOS here, taking the win. Oh, that's a game 1 win. There we go. Nicely done, honestly. I mean, it wasn't... there was a moment there where it looked pretty good for Risky, but the Roach Ravager composition didn't quite have enough to deal with it. There wasn't even any splash damage in there. I guess the Archon was splash, but there wasn't even any storm. Just great control, great force fields, great Guardian Shield coming up there too from SOS. Really making it happen, losing all of his Immortals, but at the end it didn't matter. Able to warp in additional units with their +2 attack especially. And yeah, Risky's early Gambit did some damage, but not enough to actually kill the Protoss. And we'll see how he does in game number 2 here of this best of 5. We'll be right back. Game 2's here on Zen. Bottom left SOS, top right Risky. All right, should be good stuff here. Man, Risky did a lot of damage with his opening Speedling Gambit, but not quite enough. Kind of feel like if you controlled a little bit better with the Roach Ravager versus the Immortal Archon Zealot pressure, maybe if you fought on creep, right? But yeah, sometimes you can't choose where you want to fight. That is a lesson learned from StarCraft 2. Hit that like button if you're enjoying this series. Man, been a long time since we've cast SOS. He's just so darn solid, man. And a world champion as well. Probe scouting here on Zen. Ah, the drone was hiding. Man, that was so good, Risky. Sends him down here. It's like, nope, no plans for expanding here, Mr. Probe. Just going to the main base and see what's going on. Haha, there's not a pool. We tricked you. 16, 18, 17 it is. Actually, that was a 16 pool. Never mind. It's a slight variation thereon, but it is still hatch gas pool, so what do you want from me? Honestly. SOS, not going for the cannon rush, not going for any kind of a proxy, at least not yet. He still could, but the fact that his probe is still inside the Zerg base rather than, I don't know, out here, for example. You know what a good place, like a really stupid good place for a proxy would be, is right here. I don't think I've scouted this area as a Zerg player ever in any of my matches. I imagine better players do, but look at how close it is, too. I mean, you just toss down like a Stargate right here, and you're like, Oracle at 2 minutes, done. Yeah, that would ruin me. I'd like to see that sometime. We'll see if Protoss can pull that off. Hey, look, it's an Adept. Yeah, I mean, this is incredibly standard. Incredibly standard out of SOS. He's got his natural base. He's got his cyber core. What he chooses to build after the cyber core is always the question with Protoss, whether it's going to be a Robo opening, a Stargate opening possibly. He might have been going for a Stargate opening in the last game. It's just that a bunch of Speedlings showed up and changed his plans. So, yeah, you can have your plans, but what you really need to be able to do is adapt to what your opponent is doing. That's usually less the case with Protoss a little bit. Usually they have more of a plan of what they're going into, regardless of what their player or opponent is doing, but sometimes you got to change things up. Dude, does SOS have 5 workers on gas? SOS, no! Okay, now he has 4 workers on gas. Still no. Third base. Cancels the pylon. Third base can go down for her risky if he wants, but look at this again. Just, okay, so this time he's going for the Baneling bus. I like this. I like this from Risky a lot. He's definitely a lower ranked player compared to SOS in a lot of ways. And one way you can get wins, or at least even up the discrepancy a little bit in your matches, is make the games shorter. The shorter the game is, the more aggressive you are early on, the harder it is for the difference in skill, to make a difference. So Lings, oh my gosh, that pylon. Okay, so can't prevent the stalker from getting out, but definitely killing that pylon, and that is a gateway. Okay, other gateways are coming in. So I mean, SOS, this is not a good position to be in. I'm sure I'd be panicking as a Protoss with this many Lings inside my house. Oh my gosh, there's too many Lings. This is early, and there's a Baneling nest if you need it. I'm not sure that Risky needs it, to be honest. Depth down, Stalker down, and good game, Risky! Takes the win to even it up 2 games. Or rather, 1 game to 1 here after game 2. That's insane. I can't believe that worked. I mean, this is a weird map for walling off anyway. You got to worry about this little stairway and then wall this off. And no. SOS wasn't ready for it. He didn't scout the lack of a third base. He didn't scout the Baneling nest because he really couldn't. He really didn't have anything to give him vision of these speedlings coming in. And he definitely paid the price for it. Depowering this gateway was huge. Stopping Warp Gate was massive as well. I didn't even realize that he had depowered the Cyber Core and stopped Warp Gate from finishing like 10 seconds early. I'm sure you have these regular gateways down here, but they're not going to produce units fast enough to deal with the loss of your entire natural base. And then suddenly it's a 2-basing Zerg versus a 1-basing Protoss, and that's a bad place to be. Nicely done. Nicely done, Risky. The sneaky Lings get in there, get some stuff done. Let's move into game number 3, shall we? Game 3's on Nightshade. Bottom right is SOS. Top left, we've got ourselves Risky. Now look, at this point, SOS needs to realize, and I'm pretty sure he has, that there's a large chance of speedlings showing up at your base earlier than you want them to. So let's see how he handles it here on Nightshade. You can wall off your natural pretty darn easily. It's a pretty narrow opening there, but man, wide ramps coming up to it. And Nightshade, again, is a macro map, but Risky does not care. He will send speedlings your way no matter what, but maybe he'll do standard this time. Anyway, if you checked out the Falcon Paladin Hour recently, it is a weekly podcast with myself and Samacron and Ozzy as we talk about StarCraft 2 competitive scene, talk about balance patches, talk about TV shows and movies and books and current events, just all sorts of nerdy things you will be interested in if you're watching this cast. So check it out. Just search Falcon Paladin on your podcast app, wherever it is. I'm telling you, if it's in Windows, yeah. Windows Phone, sure. On iPhone, absolutely. Android, Samsung Galaxy S10, yes. We're there. Just search Falcon Paladin on your podcast app. It'll come up no problemo. Actually, taking this lower, it's an interesting place to take your, well, your natural, but I think it's intended to be his third if you're Risky. I think the probe was blocking, and he was like, let's go here. Let's go here, and he did. Also, if you don't have a podcast app, you want to check it out anyway, just search Falcon Paladin Hour in your browser. You'll go to the Abyssal Trip website, or any number of websites, and you can just click stream, listen. Easy peasy. And it's free. Did I mention it's free? Some of these podcasts these days are starting to go on to paid platforms. It's ridiculous. Check out the Falcon Paladin Hour for free. You will not regret it at all. Probe being extremely annoying, as per usual. Risky does not care. Risky's handled it pretty well. He hasn't lost any drones through sloppiness. He hasn't messed up his economy too much, I don't think. I'd like to see him try to take a base here about now, as soon as he can afford it, right? Okay, he's at 0 minerals, so maybe not right now. But as soon as he can afford to do so, I'd like to see him take that base. Maybe go for more of a macro style, but at the same time, maybe he feels like he can't hang with the macro style. I don't know. Right? We only have 2 games of evidence that he really feels like he can only Ling Flood here, or just wants to. But the best thing about StarCraft is that different things happen all the time. Players swap up strategies all the time. Go for crazy stuff. SOS didn't go for the cannon rush, but that's okay. The Adept shows up, and there are a handful of Lings, and this Adept is really, really interested, like super interested in making sure that the saturation levels on this base are high. And there's a third. Okay, so third hatch at 250. Again, the first game had that quick third hatch too. So I don't know if this is a guarantee. The Adept really wants to stick around long enough to see how many lings are coming out, and that's 8 lings. He's doing it again. Okay, so at this point, SOS knows, doesn't he? He has to know. He's checking the saturation down here. There's not many drones down at that base. It is a lot of lings out. And again, this is just more lings than you need if you are worried about an Adept. Metabolic boost complete. So what I get for trying to cast in the morning hours. My throat's like, good morning. Would you like to try some casting? All right, so SOS better position. 2 Adepts, didn't lose the one on the other side of the map. He's got a Stalker, he's got Warp Gate. I think Risky might just abort. At this point, there's really no reason to try to get in there unless you go for Drop Lords or something. Yeah, he's pulling back. He's going for a Roach Warren. There are some Adepts cruising in here, but there should be enough Lings and Queens to handle it pretty effectively. Yeah, man, Risky droning up a ton right now. Exactly what you want to be doing anyway. Like that Creep Tumor went down. That's really nice. So the Adepts are like, hey, what's up, Queen? We don't care about you at all. Oh, they shaded. They completed the shade into the natural. There's nothing here to kill, though, which is hilarious. Roach Warren finishing up. Do you want to start making roaches to deal with these Adepts, or do you want to try something else? The Adepts get out of there. All right. So they just, just checking for saturation on this natural base. Or third base. I don't know what to call it. It's very confusing when Zerg players go for their first hatchery down here. But more lings and more roaches, and these Adepts are in trouble. I feel like these lings want to get us around. Okay. All right, so at least these ones are down, but reinforcing Adepts do show up, and there's Resonating Glaives on the way. Oh no, a Resonating Glaives attack could be disastrous for Risky. He doesn't have any Banelings at all. The roaches can do it if you have an ample number of roaches. Ravagers are not a bad idea either here. He's just pulling back, waiting for Resonating Glaives to finish. There it is, 10 seconds to go. This is a 2 base. How many gates? 1. Is this a, what? 3 gate Adept Resonating Glaive attack. So this isn't an all-in. This is not him going for nothing but here, but he is getting a robotics facility too. But Resonating Glaives Adepts are no joke, man. Trying to get some shots off on him and keep a handle on him as they try to finish their shade up into the base. They're going into the main. Roaches trying to get that surround, popping out individually here. The Adepts, again, even with Resonating Glaives, are just, they take several shots to kill a Roach, and that's what makes them good. Wow, they're up in the main base trying to get stuff done. The drone's pre-pulled down to the natural to make that happen, and then the Adepts just recall home. So good hold by Risky. That was pretty good stuff. I liked it a lot. Meanwhile, he has a pretty good army supply. He's got 46 to 32 compared to the Protoss player. And SOS is still not taking a third. Does have 46 workers, though, which is nice. Oh, Ravager's coming up. This is scary. This is a really, really scary place to be. This is an important game, you guys. It's really hard to come back if you lose game 3 in a tied-up series. Hard to come back and win it because you got to go win 2 in a row. Either player could be in trouble here. Dude, Corrosive Vials raining down. Have to dodge those. Losing the Cyber Core would totally suck here. Immortals are in production, but they're a little bit away from completion. That Adept is sitting back here happily killing drones. Already up to 6 kills, 7 kills, and ends up with 8-9 kills before she dies. Fantastic play. So the Roach Ravager stuff. Okay, so that gateway is down. The Cyber Core probably going to die here too, unless SOS can shove this off his front door, which he might have done already. So, Risky is at 53 workers, still on 2 bases here. SOS. I kind of like this aggressive style. I mean, it's not how Zerg is intended to be played, as players like Serral have shown us, as Raynor has shown us. You're supposed to play it a defensive style with a ton of creep and just defend everything your opponent throws at you. But I kind of like the 2.5, 3 base attacks. Maybe I need to work those into my game. Because boy, is it difficult having the map awareness. I mean, that's why we haven't seen a Zerg player do it until Serral in friggin' Legacy of the Void 3 years in, right? It's difficult to do. Zergs were much more happy going for 2 base all-ins, going for Nidus Worm shenanigans, going for Baneling busts, you know what I mean? Anyway, third base warping in now for SOS. Ling's cruising around to see if there is in fact a third base here, and perhaps if they can shut it down. You know what? Kind of looks good for them to be able to do so. Where is the army to... guys, you got that third base. I think it might be toast. The warp-in is real, but nope. That's a canceled third. Dang, Risky. What a play. What an insanely good play. The Roach Ravager, again, kind of in a bad place. I don't know if they want to engage here, but this is where the army is. So he avoids getting force fielded in. He's being a lot more cautious right now. Corrosive Biles are hitting the force fields quite effectively. Army Supply is favoring the Zerg player by about 20 right now, which is awesome. But the Immortals, as long as they stay alive, they're going to be a big deal. Meanwhile, a couple of Adepts are harassing inside the natural base, killing them drones, and Risky is forced to go home to deal with that to some extent. Yeah, main base, geez, 14 drones have gone down in the first 8 minutes of this match. This has been a good series, just in the sense that, holy smoke, stuff's been happening today. Absolutely insane. All right, man. I mean, again, no splash damage here this time. And there are Ravagers. And it's 98 to 100 to 67 army supply. Kind of feel like Risky might be able to hold this. I mean, SOS is abjectly terrifying. He has a lot of force fields. He's killing some roaches very easily, very patiently, just picking off at the periphery here. Stabbing on into the third base, trying to get shots off on the hatchery as possible. Killing a queen is not a bad thing either. And the drones are evacuating from this third base. There's just too much Protoss. And the hatchery ends up going down. All right, that hurts. That hurts a lot. Army supply 93 to 85 as 2 more Immortals are in production right now. Losing that Roach Warren would be a disaster. Look how much army is stuck behind the force fields here, just trying to come through chokes, but the Immortals are refusing to fall here. They are living up to their name of Immortals. The Roach Warren falls. That hurts for Risky. He's not going to be able to make any more roaches here unless he replaced it. I don't see another one. I really don't. Suddenly it's 62 to 93 army supply. I mean, this is SOS control at its best, you guys. I don't think any Immortals have died in this game at all. The income tab definitely favoring the Protoss player as the third base of the Zerg goes down here, and that is your good game. SOS takes the win. You want to guess how many Immortals died in this game? It's none. It's 29 Adepts, a Stalker, and a couple Sentries. That's pretty good stuff, man. 9,000 losses for the Zerg player, 4,000 for SOS. 15 drones down, losing a hatch and his Roach Warren. 47 Roaches died, and 4 Ravagers. Those Immortals putting in work. Putting in serious work. It was the right idea. Risky going for the Roach Ravager style there to hold that was the right idea. He just needed more. That's the thing. Roach Ravager, pretty good, but not that efficient for the supply that they require. So you need more. And you didn't have more, and that was it. All right. Well, let's move on into the next game here. SOS looking pretty dominant there in game number 3. Game 4 should prove to be a rocker. Let's check it out, see what's going to happen. We'll be right back. Ephemeron, the latter edition. Bottom right-hand corner, SOS. Top left, it is Risky. Kind of feel like Risky needs to switch this up, right? Maybe do an actual Baneling bust. Maybe do Dropper Lords. Maybe do Nidus. There's a lot of ways to harass Protoss as Zerg, but Speedling Flooding might get it done once, but I'm not entirely sure you can do it again here versus SOS guy. Let's see. Let's see what we get. Hey, do you know there's a store for Falcon Paladin merchandise? FalconPaladin.store. We had a recent, recent discount, sale with a discount code of Summer Crowns. I think that might have ended a couple days ago, though. As I'm looking at my calendar here. If not, if that doesn't work, go ahead and check it out anyway. You can get some amazing merchandise sent directly to your house. You can check the prices in any of your local currencies by clicking the top right there. By default, it's in Australian dollars because it is actually run by Somicron, the Aussie. So check that out. Put it in your own currency. Have a good time with it. Get a hat or a shirt or perhaps a hoodie. It might be cold where you are, or perhaps getting cold soon where you are. It's that kind of sort of transitional time of year, isn't it? Anywho, what are we doing? Same thing, man. Everyone does the same thing this entire series. 1 gate expand, 16, 18, 17, or maybe like a 16 cool. Whatever, it's cool. Actually, I was going to say, only putting 1 guy on gas is an interesting tell here. But I think that drone's going to go in there and put it up to 3. Either way, he's not going to have speed available very quickly, but that does mean he can have more lings available very quickly. Interesting trade-off on the economic side of things, for sure. The music stopped. Where'd the music go? I have you on continuous. You shall continually entertain me, musician. That works. That's better. Boom. Okay, so again, SOS has a plan. By golly, he is sticking to it. He's making an adept. He's getting warp gate. His natural base is warping in. Speed getting started. Lings are moving out. Probe says, yes, a couple of Zerglings. Nothing too crazy. Is there a third base at all? There will be, as this drone is heading up this way. At the very least, going to try to make SOS think that there will be. And there it goes at about 240. So the timing here, again, if you see a Zerg player take a third, that is not a guarantee. Nothing crazy is going to happen. Okay? Need to check the saturation levels on that third base if you can. Saturation levels on the natural base too, if you can. With the adepts, they're good at scouting stuff because these shades are invulnerable. They don't have a lot of vision, but you can get there. You can get close in there. Ooh, finish the shade. And I mean, it's going to check to see, all right, is there a lair? Is there a second gas at all? No. Is there a baneling nest? Okay, interesting. Very good. Look at this, droning up. Dude, Risky's going for the macro style play, you guys. He's doing the right thing. I mean, okay, he won a game not doing this. So I can't say it's always the right thing, but in this situation, I feel like it's probably the right thing. Getting a Roach Warren just for safety here at about 30 workers or so. Again, fully saturating the natural base is something I don't think I've seen him done in a while, or do in a while. Dark Shrine on the way from SOS. Looks like we're probably, there you go, Warp Prism. Gonna see some Archon drops. And again, having roaches out is extremely useful for that situation. So SOS is like, thank goodness, I don't have to worry about Zerglings knocking on my front door at 3 minutes today. Let's just go ahead and play this normal. I'm gonna try to harass the Zerg player as much as I can. And then show up with a big scary timing attack of some kind, probably with Immortals and Sentries, and maybe even some Storm. We could get some Storm today, right? Could do. Could very well do. So Risky's third. He's going to saturate it. He's making some roaches, which is pretty smart. I mean, it's really going to shut down this Warp Prism stuff pretty handily. Just the question is, oh, 10 roaches. This isn't defensive then. This is aggressive is what this is. So the roaches pop out right when the adepts finish their shade. And like, all right. Well, we're dead then. A couple drones go down, but that's about it. DT's actually doing DTs. Actually 100% doing DTs. Is there a lair? No! He didn't get a lair at all. Oh, man. I did not. I skipped right past the potential for Dark Templar on that Dark Shrine. That's hilarious. All right. Well, that base is toast. Oh, shoot. Oh, shoot. Just lost detection at the natural base, too. Alert, alert, alert. Everybody's coming home to deal with this. More DTs in the main. There is a Spore here, but there's not enough to actually kill the DTs. Queens can't really do it. Oh, trying to sacrifice. Nope, good game. I don't know how much of that was Risky really trying to play macro. He had a tiny bit of an advantage right in the moment that the DT showed up, I think. And maybe when he stopped making drones and started making roaches instead. Let's see. So he ends up with 14 drones, and he lost 24, which means he made 28? Did he really? No, hold on. 38. He made 38 drones in 5 minutes, which is not great. Did end up having a bunch of roaches there, too. Yeah, I mean, he just skipped spores. And really, I like to call them safety spores because they protect you against so many things. If you don't know what your opponent is doing, and I don't think Risky had any idea what his opponent was doing. I mean, I guess he had Overlord scouted in. but he had never scouted the Dark Shrine. He didn't got in the main base, or the natural base is the problem. So, yeah, Spore Crawlers will defend against Oracles, against Phoenix, against Dark Templar. These are things that can kill you early like this if you don't deal with them. And not having spores means you're dead. So risked it by not getting the safety spores, not having a lair, not having the ability to make Overseers at all, going for what looked like about a 3-base Roach Ravager style attack, and then SOS showed up with DTs, and that was all she wrote. So SOS making it happen here. Risky able to take a game off of the former world champion. But not enough. Not enough to win it today, so we do get a Protoss win in really no true macro games. I mean, it was a lot of aggression from both sides. A lot of kind of Roach Ravager Immortal style battles, but nothing involving, Colossus or Carriers or anything like that today. But it's kind of fun to see how these games go when someone is really hell-bent on making sure the game is a little bit shorter so he has a better chance of winning it. So nicely done by SOS here today, and that's going to be it from me. So this has been Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void and your Sunday series. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch, all at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.